A man has passed away, and the balance of the entire Middle East has collapsed. Ayatollah Khamenei is no more. The man who had stood for decades as a wall of resistance against Israel is now history. And right now, what is about to unfold, are you truly ready for it? This is the moment when Greater Israel is about to be born. A terrifying ideology that seeks global dominance. It wants to plant its grip on every territory. And the most frightening part? Their goal is to spread chaos to every corner of the earth. And this is not just my personal opinion. It is a prophecy from 1400 years ago that is now unfolding before our eyes. Dr. Israr Ahmed had warned about this horror long ago. Today, every single one of his warnings is coming true. Greater Israel will be established. Everything will fall into the hands of the Jews, and the red carpet for the arrival of the Dajjal is being laid at this very moment. Now, the question is, who will be their next target after Iran? You guessed it right, Pakistan. That nation with its nuclear capabilities stands as the strongest wall against their plans. Even Netanyahu himself has admitted that Pakistan is a threat to their existence. Remember his famous words? The first is Iran, the second is Pakistan. The storm approaching is already knocking at your door. But this entire story did not start yesterday. The roots of this terrifying conspiracy go back centuries. When was the dream of Greater Israel first imagined? Who were the people that drew such lines on the map, setting the stage for today's fiery conflict? To understand the true face of this ideology, we must look back through the currents of time, to the documents and declarations that laid the foundation of this borderless project. And yes, you don't need any conspiracy theory, just history and maps. The reality is simple. Israel is the only country on the planet that has never officially declared its borders. Every other nation marks its sovereign limits on the map, but Israel, they deliberately left their borders undefined. They signed peace agreements with Egypt and Jordan, yes, but with Lebanon, Syria, Gaza, and the West Bank, the borders remain vague. This is no accident. The foundation of this borderless project was laid around the 1800s. The father of modern Zionism, Theodore Herzl, imagined a state stretching from the Euphrates in Iraq to the Nile in Egypt. Later, Zeev Jabotinsky expanded this vision, claiming both banks of the Jordan River. In 1947, when the UN proposed partition, Israel's first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, accepted it merely as a starting point. His strategy was crystal clear. Take what land you can get, strengthen the army, and then seize the rest by force. The Nakba of 1947 and the Six-Day War of 1967 were the realization of this century-old blueprint. Today, the reflection of this century-old dream can be seen in the illegal settlements of the West Bank. But the real question is, if this continuity continues, where will it end? Today's new Israeli map and the statements of its new leadership signal a terrifying threat to the entire region, especially Pakistan. Here, one thing becomes clear. The plan for Greater Israel will not remain confined to the Middle East. Until now, Iran has been the strongest wall against this expansion. But if Iran's leadership weakens, a huge power vacuum will emerge, and a plan is already underway to fill that vacuum with an old face, Reza Pahlavi. He claims he is coming
Fellow
to
Iranians,
lead
the challenges
only
we face demand our
temporarily.
immediate
His
response.
objective?
Has been an initial
Restore
resolve to
democracy
secure our
in
nation's
Iran.
future.
But history teaches us a different lesson. Every time an outside power installs a so-called savior, they become a Trojan horse. In 1882, when Britain entered Egypt, they called it temporary. That temporary lasted 70 years. In 1953, the same story unfolded in Iran. A democratically elected government was overthrown and the Pahlavi dynasty was installed. If Reza Pahlavi returns to power, Iran's missile program, military resistance, and nuclear capabilities will all vanish. Then, the only barrier left in front of Greater Israel will be Pakistan, because Pakistan is the only nuclear-armed state in the Muslim world. From Israel's perspective, it's not just Pakistan's bomb, it's the Muslim bomb. Do you remember 1980? Israel proposed to India a joint attack on Pakistan's nuclear facilities. Today, that old hostility is taking a new form. Netanyahu's so-called hexagon of alliances, where India and Israel are creating a new geopolitical bloc. Pakistan's Shaheen-3 missiles have a range of approximately 750 kilometers, meaning every Israeli city falls within their reach. But the real terror isn't just the missiles. The real danger is the nuclear knowledge Pakistan could share with other Muslim states. Their plan is clear. First, destroy Iran. Then, with India's help, eliminate Pakistan's nuclear capabilities. When Iran falls, Pakistan will stand alone. But history doesn't end there. According to Islamic prophecy, a time will come when the most terrifying corruption will manifest in the world, the Dajjal. According to Dr. Israr Ahmed's analysis, the entire project of Greater Israel is merely a preparation for that catastrophic event. But the final outcome will be different. When Greater Israel reaches the peak of its power, that is when Imam Mahdi will appear. Then Hazrat Isa A.S. will descend from the skies. He will defeat the Dajjal forever. And that day, Greater Israel itself will become its own grave. Remember Dr. Israr's immortal words, Greater Israel will one day turn into a greater grave. That is when the greatest battle in human history will unfold, Armageddon, al-Malhama al-Kubra. It is there that history will change its course. One thing to always remember, history only stands with those who open their eyes before time runs out.